What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Derek, and today we're taking a look at the DJI Mini 3 Pro drone that DJI just released. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna run through the specs. I'm not really a specs guy if you've been following this channel for a while, but we will go through the specs. And then I'm just gonna basically tell you guys my opinion of using this drone over the last month or so and what I think of it compared to past DJI drones that I've owned. With that said, let's go ahead and roll the intro and jump right into it. All right, guys, as I said, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the DJI Mini 3 Pro. But before we go ahead and jump into the review, I just wanted to say, if you have a moment and you get done watching this video and you enjoyed it, please take that extra second and hit the like button. It helps me out tremendously on this channel. Also, if you like tech videos like this, I review lots of different photography, videography, equipment, as well as just general tech stuff like lights, just all kinds of stuff, honestly. Then make sure you get subscribed to the channel because we always got new videos coming out, and I would love to have you guys a part of that as well. And if you're really feeling froggy, maybe share the video with a friend that might be interested in drones. First off, let me say right before we jump in that this drone's awesome. So I've been a fan of the Mini series of DJI drones for a while, since the first one. We're now on the third iteration of that. However, the truth is the first one and the second one, the quality just wasn't quite there for me to want to downgrade from a larger drone that had a better sensor, better video bitrate, and all of that. I think with the 3, and specifically the Mini 3 Pro, that quality is there. I would say, again, I came from the Air 2S, and I would say that the quality is on par with the Air 2S and definitely beats the Mini 2. And so I think it kind of falls somewhere right in that range, but I think at this point, it is good enough and offers high enough resolutions and frame rates that if you're trying to get your kit lighter like I constantly am trying to do, it's definitely worth picking up. When I first started flying DJI drones, I started with the Phantom 3, then I went to the Phantom 4 Pro because, it offered upgrades, but it was honestly about the same size. It might have been the exact same size as the Phantom 3. And then came out like the Mavic series. The Mavic series was like their first hey, we're downsized. And then it was a big deal because the Phantom 3 and the Phantom 4 were big drones. They did not have foldable legs. They did not, they had basically these legs, like 2 legs, and they were like a U shape or whatever. They never folded up. It flew like that. It came in this big kind of square carrying case thing, this styrofoam box that you could carry it around in. It was like carrying an additional little luggage with you anywhere you wanted to take your drone, on a plane or anything like that. When the Mavic came out, that was kind of the first foray into kind of these more compact type drones, and it was great. And like I said, I owned a Mavic drone and it was great. And then the Air came out, and the Air was even smaller. But again, kind of like the first issues of the Mini 1 and 2, it just wasn't quite, the quality wasn't quite there that you were getting out of the Mavics. But then fast forward, Mavic 2 comes out, then you have the Air 2S come out. Well, the Air 2S is on par with the previous Mavic generation, which, I was satisfied with, so that meant I could go ahead and upgrade to the Air 2S. Then I flew the Air 2S for a while, and the Mini 3 Pro just released, and same thing. Like, if an Air 3S comes out, is the Mini 3 Pro gonna be as good as that one? Probably not. But I've been flying the Air 2S, and the 4K 60 FPS on that drone has been fine. And so this one, in my opinion, is on par with the Air 2S. And so I don't necessarily need a better resolution than what the Air 2S was giving me, which means I can keep that same resolution or very close to, but get a even smaller form factor once again. And that's kind of my thought as I go into purchasing drones and upgrading my drones. Obviously, the best thing would be having the absolutely best quality out of any drone that exists, as well as the smallest form factor. But obviously, just like with anything in life, you're making trades and stuff depending on what route you want to go. So when I look at products, no matter what type of tech products I'm looking at, whether that's drones, projectors, microphones, I'm always looking for what I would consider to be the best bang for the buck. So that means like, whatever I'm spending my money on, is it giving me the best of each of these different things that it can give me at those price ranges? And I think that's where kind of, in my opinion, the Mini 3 Pro falls. For a couple reasons. Number one, the video quality is superb on these things. It's not the best footage in the world necessarily because we are in the middle of winter here and everything's dead, but nonetheless, It takes great footage in my opinion. And the big thing about the mini drones is that they weigh under 250 grams, including with the battery in it. Not the extended battery, but the normal battery. They have like a max battery that gives you more flight time and stuff, but that puts the drone over 250 grams. Why is 250 grams important? Because 250 grams, if a drone is under that, it does not have to meet a lot of the regulations, at least here in the United States where I live, that is required of a drone. You don't need to register them. You can pretty much fly them in a lot of places that you can't fly a normal drone, or you would need a permit to fly a normal drone. So there's just a lot of benefits to that. This drone really, in my opinion, is kind of the best bang for the buck when it comes to DJI. Another reason I really like this is because not only is it kind of the best bang for the buck, like for the same amount of price as like what I paid for the Air, so you know, $1,000 range, $1,200 range, with the Mini 3 Pro, you're getting that 4K 60 FPS just like the Air 2S, but for that kind of same price, you're also getting the controller that has the built-in screen. Now, obviously you can buy this with the old style controller where you use your phone as a screen, and that is what I've always had up until the Mini 3 Pro. I've always used the controller that just, you know, your phone goes on to, well, back in the day with the Phantoms, it was on the bottom of the remote. But then, you know, with the last couple iterations, moved to the top of the remote. And while I never really have like that big of an issue with it, the one thing that sucks is then my phone's tied up the entire time I'm flying my drone. And to be honest, being a vlogger and stuff, also having a vlog channel, by the way, if you don't know, I have a vlog channel, look up OMG, it's Derek Vlogs. It's youtube.com/Derek Salyers. I'm sure you'll find the channel. But when I'm vlogging and stuff, you know, obviously I take around other cameras like my Sony ZV-1, my Canon 80DS, but a lot of times I also just, you know, use my phone to grab quick shots when I'm doing something like flying a drone, because it's much more difficult to try to set up a whole camera while I'm also flying a thing. Then I gotta worry about turning it on and off. My phone, you know, I'm doing something cool is on the screen, or I wanna get a shot of the drone as it's taking off. I just pull out my phone, boom, and I can do it real quick. And so having the screen on the controller has turned out to just be super nice. It's not a necessity by any means, but again, my point is, for the same price as what I've been paying for, I mean, even back the Phantom 3, Phantom 4, you know, always around kind of like $1,499, that $1,500 mark. The Air 2S, it came down a little bit. I think I paid like maybe $1,200 to $1,300. The Mavic, I think I paid about $1,200, $1,300. And now at this point, I'm down to like $1,000, but that's also with the better equipment in my opinion, at least like better controller and stuff like that. You could argue the drone's not as good as, you know, the Air 2Ss or the Mavericks or whatever. But in my opinion, it's close enough. So you also get that extra stuff, which is cool as well. So with that said, the first things first, I just want to run through kind of the specs. Again, I'm not a big spec guy, but I still think it's, you know, it makes sense to at least brush through them. So honestly, I'm just going to read them from DP Review. First things first, key features of the drone is it has a 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor. So compared to the Air 2S, the Air 2S had a 1/2 inch sensor. So the Air 2S had a little bit bigger of a sensor, so a little bit better in probably like darker situations and stuff. It has a 24mm equivalent lens with an 82.1 degrees field of view and a fixed 1.7 aperture, which is nice because it has that nice fast aperture, which is, you know, large aperture, which is gonna allow it to do better in low light, even with something like a 1/1/3 or 1/1.3 sensor instead of a 1/2 sensor, compared to the Air 2S that had a fixed 2.8, and even the Mini 2, which was a 2.8. So even though it's a smaller sensor, you have a little bit better of an aperture, which is going to, again, allow you just to basically, in my opinion, get about the same equivalent in terms of low light shots as the Air 2S, and better than the Mini 2, in my opinion. Video transmission is up to 12 kilometers. So that would be like, for us US people, like 7.5 miles, somewhere around that range. And I will say, I can fly this drone. So just when I fly it like around my neighborhood, around my house, just from flying over the years, I kind of know the max range in all the different directions of my drone when I have them. So with my Air 2S, I kind of knew where I could go, but I would say I could get like an extra 300 to 400 meters at 100 meters high in the sky than I could with the Air 2S. Goes further than any other drone I've ever had. I mean, even the Mavic and the Phantoms. The other nice feature is that it does, again, 4K resolution at 60 FPS, whereas the Mini 2 up until this point only did 4K 30. The Air 2S did do 4K 60 FPS as well. So again, that kind of meets the same as the Air 2S. However, the Air 2S only did 120 megabytes per second bitrate, whereas the Mini 3 Pro does 150 megabytes per second bitrate. That just means there's more data being captured by the sensor, which means a better quality image. Now, none of these things alone, a lower aperture number, a higher video bit rate, higher megapixels, all of that stuff in and of itself, each of those individually, doesn't necessarily mean that because this has 150 megabyte bit rate and the Air 2S has 120, that this automatically is going to have the better video. It's all of those in combination. But again, even though it has a smaller sensor size, because it has a better aperture, because it has better video rate, you're at least, in my opinion, getting on par with the Air 2S. I've not actually compared footage side by side. I mean, you know, like extensively, but just from looking at it, seems very, very similar to me. The other nice thing is the mini series, you know, this is the first Pro version of the mini series. And up until this point, the mini series did not have like the extra features like DJI, like D-Cinelike or whatever, like, which is their D-Log type of video that you can capture, and then, you know, which allows you to get, kind of smashes the brights and the darks together more, so that you can capture more information in the frame, so that later when you go to color grade or edit that footage, you're able to adjust things like the brightness and shadows and things better than you would be with just normal footage. The Air 2S also had this, so it's no different than the Air 2S, but it definitely is an upgrade from the mini series. Has Active Track 4, which I'm coming from Active Track 3 in the Air 2S, and the mini series up until this point, again, didn't really have Active Track or any of that because it didn't really have any kind of sensors at all. So all it had was quick shots. So this has hyperlapse, it has Spotlight 2.0, point of interest 3.0, Active Track 4.0, master shots, quick shots, has obstacle avoidance forward, backward, and downward, so the same as the Air 2S, and it has 34-minute flight time with the standard battery, and it's a 3-minute improvement on the Mini 2, which was 31 minutes, and you can get the Intelligent Flight Plus battery, which gives you 47 minutes with the Mini Pro. However, it does put the drone over that 249 gram mark, so if that's important to you, then that might not be the best thing or whatever. And of course, in terms of weight, it does hit 249 grams, putting it under that 250 grams part, which is more than under half of what the Air 2S weighs. So the Air 2S is 570 grams. Really, really nice, really, really small. When you have the blades and everything folded up, I mean, this thing literally fits. Now, I mean, granted, I also have what we would call, you know, a little more giant arms or hands or whatever, you know, than maybe normal people. I don't know. I don't know what size people's hands are, but literally will fit into the palm of my hand when it is folded up. That's how small these mini drones are. So they are awesome. They are super, super convenient, super portable, and easy to take with you and just throw in a camera bag or whatever. And then one other cool thing about it, which I know there was the Mavic Zoom that came out that had a small, like a zoom on it. The Air 2S did not have a zoom, but this does. So this also has a 4x digital zoom, which is honestly no different than if you added a digital zoom in post-processing, but it's still nice to be able to zoom in that digital zoom while you're flying. That way you can frame shots and stuff better, you know, because you know exactly where you're zooming in at and stuff. So while it's not really any different than added in post, it's still nice that it has it, in my opinion. It allows you to kind of get that extra punch in that you might want when you're trying to set up a drone shot in mid-flight, which is nice. So again, the drone is actually, it's not that expensive. In my opinion, it's definitely the best value out there in terms of DJI drones, and not just because it's the cheapest, but because of it's actually a great professional drone at a super low price, which is starting at $669. The Mini 3 Pro with the DJI RC remote that has the screen and everything built into it, the price is $909 with tax and everything. Like I said, I paid about $1,000, but that was, you know, the full kit with 2 batteries, the remote with the screen, the drone itself. You also get this nice carrying bag. It's actually an improvement on the Air 2S carrying bag. It's much nicer, in my opinion. seems higher quality, more stylish looking. So definitely great in that opinion. So that's kind of the specs of it. That's kind of the price of it, all of that stuff. So now let's just go ahead and talk about real world use. So I've been flying this drone now for the last month. I've probably sent it into the air, let's just say battery wise, I've probably flown through 20 to 30 batteries at this point with it in a month. Sometimes that might have been, in one day, flying 3 or 4 times, sending it up with a battery, in other days, maybe only once. But, 20 to 30 batteries, I'd say in the first month, I've done it. And I have to say, I really do enjoy this drone. It really provides some great footage. It is super small, super sleek. It's really nice how the battery system works. I love the fact the Air 2S, you had to unplug the take the batteries out of the Air 2S, put them on a charger. I had the Fly More pack with the Air 2S, so it came with the charger that held 3 batteries on it, and I had 3 batteries, but you had to put them onto this charger and charge them. This, you leave the battery right in the drone, you just pop in a USB-C charging cable and boom, you're charging the battery. You can't charge multiple at once like that, but honestly, I mean, that's not that big of a deal to me. I just pop in the battery, charge it. When it's done, I pop it out, throw it in the bag, grab the other battery, pop it in, charge it, and then I just leave it there at that point. And then whenever I go to fly, pull it off the charger, fly, and I know I got another battery. If I end up going to a second battery or needing the second battery, I know it's in the bag. Another really cool feature I like about this drone is this is the first DJI drone where, I believe it's the first, I could be wrong, but it's the first one I've had where the actual camera turns vertically and you can do vertical shots with the drone. So previously, you've always just had to take wide shots, and then you've had to in post kind of, just cut out the middle of the frame or whatever to get your vertical shots. With this, you're actually getting that full resolution vertical shot, which is really, really cool in my opinion. So it's a neat little feature as well, and something that I'm really glad they added in. Just in terms of real world use of the range has been excellent for me. Even in crowded city areas where there's a lot more interference and stuff, I can immediately tell that I'm getting further range than I have with any of the other DJI drones I've personally owned. And when I'm out somewhere where there is not a lot of interference and stuff, I mean, it's crazy to me the range these drones get nowadays, and still keeps a 1080p HD video on your phone or your remote as you're flying. Like I said, they claim 12 kilometers at 1080p signal. I've never quite gotten that in real world use. 7.5 miles, that's quite a bit, but I've definitely gotten far with it, close to it. I would even maybe say, I definitely would say I've hit like 5 miles, maybe 5.5, which still is absolutely bonkers to me that you can fly a drone nowadays that far. Do I think the drone is worth it? 100%. If you have never owned a drone and you're looking to get into drone flying, the fact that it now includes all of the different obstacle sensing sensors, so front, downward, and rear, is phenomenal. At least gives you that extra protection that as a new drone operator, you're not going to crash it first thing. I remember with the Phantom 3, I wrecked it right into a tree very shortly after I got it. Knocked the whole thing out of the sky. There was no obstacle sensing then. And on top of that, with everything else, and I know I've kind of already said this a couple times and I'm repeating myself, but I mean, it's on par with the Air 2S. It's on par with like the Mavic 2. As new models of those drones come out, will they surpass this? Sure, but that's no different than when the Mini 4 comes out to surpass this. But currently, where the market's at today, the drones that are out, I just don't see how there's a better deal than this right here, especially if you don't mind using your phone and stuff and you just get the controller that has your phone in it, and then you're paying $669 for the Mini 3 Pro. That's a good deal, man. That's a really good deal in my opinion. And if you are not new to the drone space and you're like myself and you're just constantly looking to make your kit smaller and downsize the weight and the footprint, the size of your gear, I can definitely easily say 100% that this met and exceeded all of my expectations when it comes to that. I don't miss the Air 2S at all. It's amazing in my opinion. One of the best drones DJI has come out with in a while. When they went from the Phantom series to the Mavic, it was a big deal. And everybody, I mean, it was crazy because of the portability of the Mavic. While it doesn't seem like the Mini 3 Pro has gotten as much warm reception to that, or as much of like people in awe of the tech in such a small form factor, I think it's on that same caliber. It is the same as when DJI went from the Phantom to the Mavic series. In my opinion, nobody would go out today and buy a Phantom, even if they wanted like the best quality they're probably not gonna go out and buy I mean, unless you're talking like movie production stuff where they're buying huge ass drones with cinema cameras and stuff on it. But just normal like pro consumers and stuff, normal YouTubers, kind of people that use these type of drones a lot, they're not gonna go out and buy a Phantom at this point. At the most, if they want the best quality, they're gonna go out and buy, you know, the Mavic drone. But now with this, I really don't see what the point of buying the Mavic or even the Air drone would be. I really think this drone is that good when it comes to the quality and stuff. So definitely recommend checking it out. Definitely am in love with this drone. I'm glad I picked it up, and I'm glad I sold and got rid of my Air 2S. And I was basically able, because I did it soon enough, I was able to basically get rid of my Air 2S for the same price as what I paid for getting this whole setup. So really at the end of the day, it was a trade for my Air 2S to the Mavic 2 Pro, which, by the way, I did buy this fully outright, no discounts, no sponsorship, nothing like that. So this review is completely unbiased. I've never received any products from DJI. So really great drone, 100% recommended. I also like, I didn't mention this, but another little cool feature is just that with this drone, you can actually raise the camera up more than horizontal. You can raise it to be looking up, which is a cool feature as well. I do think the Air 2S did that, but my Mavic didn't and the Phantom didn't. So I do like that they allow you to do that too. You can get some cool shots when you have your drone low with the camera facing up. Very cool, very cool. DJI, hats off to you. You guys made a great drone. I'm in love with it. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, smash that like button. Don't forget to get subscribed if you like tech videos like this. Thank you guys so much for the love, the support. Maybe share it with a friend that you have that might be looking at a drone. And until next time, thank you guys for watching. Peace out, everybody. Later, nerds.